These types of women will always cheat on their men platter. There are certain women who will cheat on you no matter how perfect they appear, and often men don't see it coming at all. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what types of women are more inclined to cheat and how you can identify them early on. Trust me, what I'm about to share might surprise you because it's not always the ones you'd expect or the ones who are obvious. Let's dive in. Hey, it's Jessie OS here. Welcome back to the channel. So, the first type of woman I want to discuss is what I like to call the thrill seeker. These women stand out, but they're often misunderstood. She's the type who is constantly on the hunt for the next big thrill, the next adventure, the next experience that will give her that rush. Think about it. Her weekends are packed with spontaneous trips, impromptu nights out, and taking risks just for the thrill of it. It sounds fun at first, right? But here's where things take a turn. This endless craving for adrenaline doesn't just stop at her hobbies, it can spill over into her relationships too. Let me explain. If she gets bored easily, the excitement she felt for you when the relationship was new may quickly fade. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with someone who enjoys adventure, but when she's always chasing one thrill after another and has trouble settling into a routine, that's a sign you need to pay attention to. The thrill seeker is always in search of that next rush. Unfortunately, once the newness of your relationship fades, her interest could too. That's when she starts searching for the next experience or even the next person to fill that void. It's not necessarily that she's trying to hurt you, but for her, it's about the need for constant stimulation. And when the excitement wears off, she may look elsewhere. So how do you recognize this type of woman before things get too deep? Look at her history with relationships and her view on commitment. Does she talk about her past relationships as if they were just another stop on her journey? Is she always looking for new excitement and becomes restless when things calm down? Does she jump from one thing to another without staying grounded? Watch how she behaves when things start to settle into a routine. If she loses interest as soon as the honeymoon phase ends, that's a major red flag. Let's be real here. When someone is always chasing the next high, they'll likely cheat if it means they can get that rush they're craving. The tricky thing about thrill seekers is that they come off as the perfect partner initially. They're fun, spontaneous, and full of life. Who wouldn't be drawn to that? But once the excitement starts to fade, so does their interest. Even worse, they'll often blame you for not being exciting enough. This is how they justify their behavior, making it seem like it's your fault, not their constant craving for excitement. Now, let's talk about the second type of woman, the overly charming social butterfly. At first, this woman seems like a dream come true. She's bubbly, outgoing, the life of the party, and can charm anyone in her path. However, things get complicated when you realize her charm isn't just reserved for you. It works on everyone. I get it. There's something incredibly magnetic about a woman who can walk into any room and instantly become the center of attention. She's confident, knows how to make people feel special, and you feel lucky to be the one she's with. But here's the reality, guys. If she thrives on that attention and seeks external validation from others to feel good about herself, you might be dealing with a ticking time bomb. This social butterfly knows how to make you feel like the most important person in her world. She'll look you in the eyes, laugh at your jokes, and make you feel like you're the only one that matters. But the truth is, she does this with everyone. It's part of who she is, and it's one of the things that makes her so attractive. In the beginning, you may feel like you've hit the jackpot. This woman who could have anyone chose you. But over time, you'll start to notice certain things. Her phone is constantly buzzing with messages, and it's not just from her friends. When you go out, she's equally friendly with the bartender, the waiter, or even your own friends. That charm? It's a double-edged sword. At first, you'll brush it off, telling yourself she's just being friendly. But if her need for attention goes beyond socializing and turns into a craving for validation from men, you're facing a serious problem. Because if she's not getting the attention she wants from you, she'll look for it elsewhere. If she's accustomed to getting attention from various sources, friends, co-workers, or even strangers, It won't be a huge stretch for her to consider something more when you're not providing her with the same attention she craves. You can't be the sole provider of her validation, and that's where the issue arises. Gentlemen, cheating doesn't always begin with a physical act. For the social butterfly, it often starts with an emotional affair. It's the innocent-seeming chats, the late-night messages, the playful back and forth with her male friends. She'll rationalize it by saying things like, "We're just talking," or "He's just a friend." But we all know how this can unfold. If she's spending more time texting or hanging out with these friends than she does with you, it's a red flag. And let me be clear, gentlemen, emotional cheating is still cheating. When she gets emotionally entangled with someone else, sharing intimate thoughts, feelings, and secrets that should be reserved for you, it's only a matter of time before it becomes physical. So how can you recognize this type of woman before it's too late? Watch how she interacts with other men, even in casual settings. Is she a bit too flirtatious? Does she go out of her way to make small talk or bat her lashes at guys she just met? Does she shine in social settings, especially where there are many men around? And most importantly, how does she react when you bring it up? If she becomes defensive or dismisses it, telling you it's no big deal, that's a major red flag. Don't let yourself be gaslit into thinking you're overreacting. If her need for validation from others is so strong that she can't help but flirt or engage with other men, you're dealing with a social butterfly. Trust me, she'll find someone else if you're not giving her the constant attention she needs. Stay alert. Don't get played by the woman who seems like everyone's best friend, because sometimes she's not just being friendly. She might be keeping her options open. The next type of woman is the overly independent one. Now, hear me out. Independence is an attractive quality, right? I'm sure you appreciate a woman who has her life together, her own career, and doesn't need anyone to take care of her. But things can get complicated. The overly independent woman can be a whole different story. And fellas, trust me, she can be more dangerous than you might think. This type of woman is always talking about how much she values her space. She avoids labels and likes to keep things casual. At first, it sounds modern, maybe even refreshing, until you realize that the reason she keeps things at arm's length isn't because she's protecting her independence, but because she's keeping her options open. Here's the truth, guys. Independence is a wonderful quality, but when it's taken to an extreme where she's building walls instead of bridges, that's when you should be concerned. The overly independent woman isn't just about having her own life. It's about ensuring that you never fully get into hers. She keeps you at a distance. There's always a part of her that's off limits, no matter how hard you try to break through. And that's exactly how she likes it. Why? Because when you're never fully part of her world, it's easier for her to step outside of yours. She's set up the perfect scenario. You're close enough to feel like you're in a relationship, but far enough that she doesn't owe you anything. And this is where things get sketchy. When she keeps that much distance between you two, it's not just emotional, it's also physical. She's the type who can easily slip away, whether by emotionally distancing herself or worse, cheating. Since she was never fully committed to you, in her mind, she's not even cheating. She'll rationalize it by saying, well, we never defined our relationship, or I never said I was exclusive. Meanwhile, you've been investing time, emotions, money, and effort thinking you're building something meaningful while she's out there playing the field without you knowing. This type of woman is all about maintaining control. She controls the pace of the relationship, how close you can get, and how much she lets you in. By doing this, she ensures she has an exit strategy. If things start feeling too intense, or if she feels confined, she'll bail. And if she cheats, in her mind, she's justified because, hey, you were never official. This woman is all about self-protection, but that means she won't hesitate to sacrifice your feelings for her freedom. If she feels like you're restricting her, she'll walk away, sometimes even before you realize it's over. So, how do you spot this type of woman? Keep an eye out for the signs. She's secretive about her life. Does she keep you on the outskirts of her personal world? Never really introducing you to friends or family? Does she dodge serious conversations about the future, brushing off any talk of commitment, or just keep things vague? Also, Notice how often she disappears without explanation. If she's constantly busy, can't seem to find time for you, or disappears for days without any proper explanation, it's a red flag. She's keeping her life separate from yours, which in some cases means she's seeing other people or leaving her options open. Trust me, guys, when a woman constantly needs space, what she's really saying is that she doesn't want to be accountable. She doesn't want the commitment of being in a relationship with you because that would limit her freedom to do what she wants and possibly be with who she wants. The next type is the always the victim type of woman. Now, this one is subtle, and that's exactly what makes her dangerous, the always the victim type. At first, she might appear vulnerable, even sweet, drawing you in with a sense of protectiveness. You hear her stories, and they always centre around the same theme. Someone hurt her, someone wronged her, someone let her down. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you'll be the one to treat her differently, to show her the care and attention she deserves. But no matter how hard you try, no matter how perfect you aim to be, you'll always fall short in her eyes. Why? Because in her world, she is perpetually the victim. And what does that mean for you? It means she never takes responsibility for her actions, even if she cheats on you. When that happens, somehow it's still your fault. In her narrative, she is never to blame. So if she strays, she'll have a list of reasons why you pushed her into someone else's arms. What's terrifying is that she'll genuinely believe these excuses. The woman who always plays the victim has perfected the art of justification. She's been wronged by every man before you, at least that's how she tells it. And if things don't go exactly as she wants in your relationship, even if you make a small mistake, she'll turn the tables and make you the villain. Maybe you missed an important date. Maybe you didn't respond to her text in time, or maybe you didn't listen to her talk about work for the 100th time. Whatever it is, she'll use it as a reason to cheat. When you find out, her defense will be something like, "You weren't paying attention to me," or "I felt neglected." It's as if she has a built-in excuse for every situation, and she'll use it every time. She'll make you question your own actions and your role in the relationship. Before you know it, she'll have manipulated you so effectively that you're the one apologizing, even though she's the one who cheated. Guys, don't fall for this. If she's constantly blaming others for her problems and never taking responsibility for her own actions, she's setting up a perfect situation where she can cheat and come out looking like the victim. So, how do you recognize this type of woman? Pay attention to how she talks about past relationships. Does she always blame her exes for everything that went wrong? Is it always the same story where he cheated, he wasn't emotionally available, or he just didn't understand her? If every man she's been with is the villain in her story, you need to ask yourself why that is. Maybe she's been hurt before, but if she never once acknowledges her own part in why the relationship ended, that's a huge red flag. And here's the tricky part. She'll be so convincing that you might start to question whether you did something wrong. But don't let her manipulation cloud your judgment. If she never owns up to anything, you'll never have a fair chance to work through issues in a healthy way. You need to stay alert. Don't let yourself get caught in her manipulation. If she never takes responsibility for her actions, you can bet she'll be quick to blame you when things go wrong, even if she's the one being unfaithful. Protect yourself and don't fall for the sob story. Now, let's talk about the next type of woman, the revenge type. In my opinion, this is the most dangerous one. This type doesn't start off as a cheater. In fact, in the beginning, she might seem like the most loyal, committed woman you've ever met. But here's the thing. If she feels even the slightest bit wronged, she won't just let it go. She's not going to have an argument and move on. No, she's going to get even. And her weapon of choice will be cheating. This type of woman is brutal because it's not about boredom or emotional unavailability. It's about payback. If you cross her, even unintentionally, she'll find a way to make you feel the same hurt she's feeling. Maybe you forgot an anniversary, maybe you didn't give her enough attention during a difficult week, or maybe you were too friendly with another woman. Whatever the reason, in her mind, it's justification to cheat. You might not even realize you've done anything wrong, but to her, it's already enough of a reason to get revenge. So why does she cheat? It's simple. To hurt you. For her, it's not about finding someone new. It's about making you feel the pain she feels. She sees cheating as the ultimate form of payback, the one thing that will wound you deeply and leave you reeling. She doesn't care about the consequences, doesn't care if the relationship falls apart after. Once she's in revenge mode, her goal is to inflict maximum damage. In her mind, it's justified because she believes you deserve it. Whether the reason is real or imagined, she'll convince herself that you caused her to stray. This makes her especially dangerous because, unlike others who cheat for emotional needs or excitement, the revenge cheater cheats with one purpose: to hurt you as deeply as possible. So, how can you spot this type of woman? Pay attention to how she handles conflict. Is she someone who holds grudges? Does she constantly bring up old arguments that you thought were resolved? Does she emotionally punish you when she feels wronged, giving you the silent treatment or withholding affection? Does she constantly try to balance the scales in the relationship? These are signs you need to look out for. This type of woman might not even express her anger right away. She'll sit on it, let it build up, and by the time you realise something's wrong, she's already made up her mind to get back at you. It's not always about catching you in a big mistake. Sometimes it's the little things. The comments you make, the times you don't prioritise her, or something she imagines as a slight. And when she reaches her breaking point, she'll strike where it hurts the most. If she's quick to remind you of times you've messed up, that's a major red flag. Revenge cheaters operate on resentment. Once that resentment grows, cheating becomes her way of settling the score. This is the most dangerous type of woman because her hurt and cheating are calculated, planned. She wants you to find out. In fact, she'll probably make sure you do, because the whole point is to make you feel the pain she's experiencing. Stay sharp, guys. Don't let her use cheating as a weapon to get back at you. And remember, if she's out for revenge, there's no telling how far she's willing to go. There you have it. I'm not saying every woman is going to cheat, but if you notice these traits in the woman you're seeing, don't ignore them. Trust your gut and act before it's too late. Cheating doesn't happen out of nowhere. It's a pattern. And if you're seeing that pattern early on, it's time to make some tough decisions.